In a world where gaming is everything, welcome to the Extreme Gaming Podcast.
Well, hello, howdy. I hope everyone's good. We're back again. Can't get rid of us. Extreme Gaming Podcast. But we've got a special for
People
you.
have tried, but we're not.
We got a special for you. Matt's going to be shirtless for the rest of the podcast, and Gray's going to. He's currently doing this without any pants on.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, by the way, my E's are fine. Your E's are backwards, guys. Just letting you know.
I frankly don't give a shit.
Come on now. You got to be uniform here, or as much as we can.
Miley,
actually, last week, Trev, your E's are backward, but the cool thing was mine were forward, yours are backward, and they met in the middle. So it actually looked kind of cool. It went like this.
Oh, that's nice.
Neat.
I need to update my message. That is definitely not wrong. One tested for sale for a 5090.
Yeah,
actually, that might be accurate. That might still be accurate, to be fair. Right, yes, episode 262, even of the Extreme Gaming Podcast, January the 9th. It's a CES special. For those who don't know, Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas is on still just now, actually, this week. I think it's like a week long. But I'm Trev, as always, boring Trev. Joining me on the podcast today is...
Great Gamer 25, we're all here again, and Matt's got his E's right.
I have. I'm all in the E's now. Look at that.
What are you...
Also known as Irish Guardian on everything and Twitch and stuff.
Good man.
There you go.
Man.
I see the E's, and I always think of Eva.
Gray's
Gray's
not normally... He's not shiny anymore. You're normally a lot more better lit than this. Gray, what's going on, man? Have you not paid the electricity bill?
I don't know, probably.
Isn't he, Matt? He's always got a shiny dome, doesn't he?
I can change
no,
that.
You're very pale. He's kind of shaded off.
I've stole his light.
I'm like taking the sun in.
I doubled up on my light. I have to have a little switch on it. So.
All right. Okay.
Actually, I'm the right tone. You guys are the ones that are. I'm telling you, Matt's almost perfect. You're white.
I live in Scotland, and Matt's just Irish, so that's kind of how it goes, man. We're pasty. We're pasty white, man. We're supposed to be pasty white. Yeah, CES special, boys. I'm excited about this one because there's so much news on the cards. Undoubtedly, we won't go through all of it, but that's okay because we can carry some over to next week. It'll probably be a part 2 of other things that we didn't get around to doing. But just really quickly, as always, join our Discord if you want to be part of a gaming, or we do other things in there. We get an entertainment community. We get we talk about sci-fi and stuff as well. We talk about the latest stuff in Hollywood. We talk about everything, anything. Gaming is obviously our first thing that we do, and that's discord.gg/Extreme Gaming Podcast. Or if you forget all that, just Google Extreme Gaming Podcast Discord, and you'll find it's really easy. We do know a couple of things about gaming and hardware. We're not experts, but we've got a passion for it. And we get some people in the community, including myself, that enjoy that kind of thing. And we'll be talking a lot about hardware today, boys, as you know. So I hope you've been brushing up, doing your research, because that's what Matt's just straight off the bat. No, he hasn't done it. No, he's our mascot, to be fair. He doesn't need to. He gets away with it. But yeah, so you can come in and ask questions. What's up, Gray?
Just to interrupt for a second. I don't know if you want to pause the uploadings. That's all I was going to mention.
Oh yeah, thank you, my man. Yeah, always appreciate it. We've all got far better we've all got far better connections actually. That technically we probably don't need it, but to be in the safe side.
Oops. I was going to say
that's what you get for your treat. That's what you get for your treat.
We are looking for a replacement at the moment.
We are, yeah. Do you want to apply to go to discord.gg/Extreme Gaming Podcast and put down why you want to be a podcaster today?
By the way, I've noticed the last 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks, the signal that Riverside's providing has actually been good with the uploading happening. Been very shocked.
I don't think it's Riverside's side. I think it's literally Matt's probably get his internet sorted out, or it's more stable, and I've got a far better connection. I think that's all it is, mate.
Yeah, you look a little better since you paused it. The two of us
and the camera
are pretty much the same. Yeah.
And the camera, I found the camera. So Gray, he's such a stickler, right? See, ever since he retired, man, he's turned into his production self from back in the day when he done it when it was more analog. He's turned into that again, man. It's a nightmare. Nice. So he's like, camera, get the good camera, Trevor. Stop using the cheap one. I'm like, I packed it away. I don't know what it is. So last night, I'm unpacking more stuff. Yes, I'm still unpacking stuff. I'm in the kitchen. and it's in a random box of like little dongles and some kitchen stuff at the same time. No chance I was finding it. Came across it by accident, and I said to Gray and Matt, "Look what I've got now. Lay off my case until I get the E's backwards."
And I did. I like how you have a bag of dongles though. That's like all kinds of dongles.
It's better than a bag of dongs. Let's put it that way.
Yes, right? Yeah, well, different sizes too. So,
yeah, well, there are, different purposes. Yeah, some male, some female connections in there. To be fair, yes. So the reason to join our Discord as well is if you like any of the hardware stuff we talk about, as well as gaming, of course, you can come in and ask us PC kind of tech questions. If we don't know the answer, we'll just bluff it and give you something that sounds right. Normally joking, we'll say we don't know, or we'll find out for you. We're on all the socials, or most of them anyway: YouTube, Facebook, TikTok at Extreme Gaming Podcast, and X is just Extreme Podcast. So join any of them. We'll get cracking, boys. We'll get cracking. Gray. Gray's put a lot into this, to be fair, right? A lot of notes at the start, which is he's going to be in charge of that little bit because my head's sore just looking at it. However, I want to do it in a slightly different order. So as the CES special, oh my God, what was that? See, what did you do, Matt? You looked like a cardboard cutout there for a minute when you moved into shot.
He's messing with his camera. Or you're rolling your chair backwards.
Yeah.
Hey, wait, let me try that. Let me try.
No, see, mine follows me everywhere now.
Oh, is it the camera that follows?
Yeah.
That's right.
That's extreme. No, mine was the extreme zoom. I just rolled my chair backwards. I didn't have to do anything.
Mine does it randomly, where it just goes, yo.
What is the temperature in Coral Springs at the moment, mate?
Oh, wow. This morning was really cold. I'm trying to remember the
No, I can convert.
It's 40. It was 40 degrees for South Florida. That's very cold. That's Fahrenheit. What was that? C?
C is pretty low. Oh my God! Like 4 or 5 degrees.
For South Florida, we were freezing. I went to bring the dog out, and I'm like, oh my God! And I layered up, and it was still like, holy crap.
I feel sorry for the dog when it's that cold. It's literally the pee must just freeze midstream, and the poor dog cannot move anymore.
I put her sweater on; she was fine. But what was more funny though is I see neighbors. I see them all the time walking their dogs. Wow, they're all bundled up and they go, it's just too cold today.
Well, I'll give you cold. It was 19 degrees Fahrenheit today.
Yeah, that's cold. That's cold.
Yeah, that's minus for us. That's like -7.
That's why I'm coming to visit you guys in the summer, not in the winter.
Yeah, it'll be nicer. Mercy wants to know if you I read that as something else. I'm like, I read that as, do you own a goat? Yeah,
as well. Do you own a goat? Yeah, a goat.
He does. He has many.
I actually put the goat around my shoulders to keep me warm, especially when it pees on me. It's even better.
Mate, just man up, mate.
Yeah. Man up.
Just
listen
man
to
up. Grow a set.
I hate wind chill. I hate wind chill. If there's wind blowing and the temperature's down, I will be like, exactly. That's why I want to get the.
Especially if I've been on the Guinness all night. If I've been on the Guinness all night, there's a lot of wind chill. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, if it was really, really cold, I would go with thermals, Matt. But I'm not going to do that for the summer.
Don't forget the long johns,
tsunamis,
long johns, and the willy warmer, right? And
yeah. My willy's always warm. I don't have to worry about willy warm.
Oh my God, we're banned from YouTube, and that one person is going to be upset.
There might be a tech one on the show. You never
know. Right. Okay. So we should probably crack on. So I want to do it in a slightly different way. Great. Why are you going to Scotland then, Merson says?
Trump has sent him over there.
Why would you not want to see this face? Why do you not want to hang out with this awesomeness?
Well, Mercy, I'm gonna try to figure out something where we can try to meet you when we come over there. I'm not really sure how we're gonna do that, but we'll try.
Everyone just come to Edinburgh. It saves me a fortune. Much easier. Matt's going to come up. Matt's got my couch, though, to be fair. So everyone else will have to sleep on the floor or out in the cold.
What if we rent what if we rent a meeting place and we all just go there?
Well, the three of us are doing the podcast. The three of us will be, hopefully, if you're here on a Thursday, doing the podcast from my 85-inch TV that I'll have set up with the Dolby Atmos and the lazy boy couch that floats out with the wine and the beer in the hands.
Do you have an extra laptop, or should I bring mine?
You don't need it. It's an 85-inch TV.
No, not that. I'm talking about the cameras and the mouse and the everything equipment. You're gonna try to cram us all
I've
into
got all
one
that.
camera?
I've got all that.
I'm not the middleman.
I've got all that.
Right. Okay.
And
Cool.
if I have to do an Amazon job, you know what that is, by temporarily getting a better camera with zoom on it just for that one podcast, I will do. I think that's all I need to zoom in.
Okay. Cool.
I'll bring mine.
You got it.
And
You got it under control.
Wireless keyboard. I mean, I work in IT, man. Come on. Come on.
I didn't want you to have to go through too much, but yeah, that sounds good.
Nah, it's fun, man. It's fun. It's a good laugh. That's the point.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be. It will be fun. We're all here from Scotland.
We're doing this like we'll talk about more near the time because Gray just wants to travel a little bit, I guess. We're doing it in a slightly different order. We are talking about the CES stuff, but there's a couple other things at the start. I'm going to start on.
Yeah, there's no. But by the way, there's no order to those at all. I just
there
threw
never
them up
is.
there as reference.
We just try to use it. We try. Oh God, come on, Matt. Right. The first thing I'm going to share with audio on purpose. Gray put this in. Now, this is a reason you've got to watch Gray's shiny video edit, right?
Yep.
Because he literally puts in the things that we talk about if we don't share them live on screen. And we talked about something last week, but we were not aware of a certain clip at the time. I've went and dug this clip out, and literally I'm just going to play it, say nothing, and we'll talk about it in a moment, boys. Because I think, to be fair, this is why I asked Harold to come on, because there was so much to actually talk about.
Yeah, see, bad he couldn't come on. Yeah.
He couldn't make it. No, that's fine. It's fine. I totally
but you know what?
understand.
To be honest, there's so much juicy stuff coming out of CES that we can talk about it for the next 2 or 3 programs.
We can. Right. Okay. This is just 28 seconds long. It's nothing. So give us a moment and we'll just play. And if you're listening, if you listen to the audio podcast and not watching, why you're not watching? But you'll be able to hear it because the picture's a bit dull. So anyway, let's play this.
Another year already. Good to see and hear from so many of you. May the next quarter century deliver as many unexpected surprises as did the millenniums first. And again, time is fluid, like music. See you in the new year.
That is, I was extremely excited. Now, for those that don't know, that's Mike Shapiro. He's the guy that plays G-Man in Half-Life 1 and 2. Now, all this stuff about Half-Life 3, is it coming, is it not coming? I am highly convinced. Oh no, things I can't say on this podcast, really, Matt. But it's a good thing the camera only goes this high up and not down there. That's all I'll say. But I am really excited because this guy only tweets. See that he tweeted a few days ago, right? Or was it a week ago? See, before then, he hadn't tweeted for 4 years. What came out 4 years ago? Half-Life Alyx. He only tweets when something significant with Half-Life is happening, and now he's done that. I am beyond excited. I know it doesn't look it, but I'm trying to contain myself. Pretty much it's a sure, and Half-Life 3 will be happening. I'm convinced by that. And if Valve let me down, I am going to pee on my Steam Deck. I don't know. I think of something out of disgust and anger to do. I don't know. But
I don't think Valve would have let Shapiro do the voice without having something in the can.
Yes, he needs to get permission. And listen, the way he sounds as well. Oh, I've heard him talk regarding that clip outside, and he sounds normal. But then he turns in the volume, and he's got the exact pauses and the tone of G-Man that I've got the heebie-jeebies, but I'm excited at the same time.
I like how he does the one where you hear the weird pausing he does is in that surprises. He goes, surprises. Like that.
Yeah, like evil. Yeah, I love it, man. Oh.
And then he goes, see you in the new year.
Oh, that's G-Man. The G-Man is one of the best bad guys, if you want to call him a bad guy, in the whole of video game history. He's so mischievous and naughty, and I love it. I can't wait, boys. I hope they make it.
By the way, the character G-Man was also inspired by a couple of science fiction shows.
Of course, Half-Life is a sci-fi type shooting game.
Yeah, but I mean, directly. I mean, that you. What was it? Oh God, X-Files. Okay, they had the dude, I forgot his name, that smoked the cigarettes all the time or whatever.
Yeah.
That was right from G-Man, and also a character in oh God, there's another sci-fi series I can't think of now where they didn't use the G-Man per se. He didn't smoke cigarettes, but he was a bald-headed guy who kept on popping up more and more often, a time traveler in this particular sci-fi series. I can't remember the name. And that was another one that was right towards, G-Man's characteristics in some ways. So yeah, he's been a big influence. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. Like some of the best things that ever come out are always influenced by other great genres and things that are out there, of course. And it's okay to borrow as long as you're not plagiarizing and copying.
Yeah.
I reckon they will announce Half-Life 3 this year. It won't be out this year. And maybe a good thing. There's some brilliant games coming out, and Gray's got them all noted down. Gray is so anal in this respect. He's got everything noted. He showed me he's actually got an Excel, I think it's an Excel sheet on all the TV shows he needs to watch, and it's 2-3 pages long. I'm like, oh my god, man, get a life! It's hilarious. Only Gray. He's got everything.
If I didn't keep track of all that stuff, I wouldn't end up watching anything.
Oh man, that's brilliant. Yeah, but I mean, that's when someone says you really need to watch this, you just usually ignore them unless they keep drilling it into you, and then you hear it from other people, and then that's when you start to watch things.
See, now you mentioned one or two to me. Now I got to add them to my list.
Yeah, but you and I like a lot the same kind of stuff, especially the three of us. So, kind of makes sense. Yeah, I won't get into that because that's for a Capes and Phasers show, I think, to be honest with you. But yeah, so I reckon this game will be announced this year, and then next year I think it will come out in 2026, because this year, towards the end of the year, I think they'll do the play test that we've been hearing about, that we talked about last week. That was a rumor going around. I think that rumor is more than a rumor. It's a rumor plus, as I want to call it. Gray added this in.
Let's all make a prediction. You said it's going to come out 2026. What do you think, Matt?
Never. It's
near the end. Yeah.
Never.
Beyond my years. I'd say maybe the end. And 26, maybe.
End of this year, or 2026?
Yeah, I wouldn't say this year.
I'm going to be really bold, and I'm going to say the game's going to come out in the second half of this year.
Yeah,
I got a funny feeling the game is almost complete, and that's why you hear the play testing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could be totally wrong, and I hope I'm right, because it'll be great for all of us. But I think it's going to come second half of this year. We'll see.
You're wrong. We'll just blame you.
Well, that's not a bad thing. If they announce it in the next couple of months, and then but the thing is, what massive games coming out? Probably, towards the end of this year, nothing's going to come out before or after GTA. They're staying away from that, mate. So I don't think it'll come out that quick. They need time to advertise this, man. So
yeah, but you know what? I don't. To be honest, and we know the way Valve works. I don't think Valve gives a crap when GTA is coming out. Seriously, they'll come out when they want to come out.
Great. If anything's going to stand up against GTA, and probably still lose because GTA is massive, there's very few things that can stand up with competition to GTA. But Half-Life 3 might just be able to do it.
Yep.
It's that big a franchise. Like, die-hard PC players, that's the bread and butter. That and Doom and Elder Scrolls. And
like you just said, it's going to come out on PC, where GTA 6 is not.
Yeah.
So,
no, but you know that Half-Life 3 will be coming out and everything. They wouldn't.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, right. So on the Half-Life, we're still on the Half-Life bandwagon. So this is, I was as excited as I am. We the three of us are for the CES stuff we're going to talk about, just because this stuff was so exciting anyway. And I had it down first. Gray had a suggestion he's dug something out regarding Half-Life 2. So I had a little bit of a makeover. And I thought this was your headline, Gray, and I was going to absolutely rip the piss out of you for it, but it's not. It's titled Half-Life 2 Next Gen Update is so gorgeous I could cry. And I was like, oh my God. It's nice. I'm not going to cry over graphics, I'm sorry. Maybe Gray cries over graphics if they're 8-bit, but I'm not. Well, I
mean, if it looks as good as their guys talking about, I'd like to see it. They have a trailer and everything, so. They
do, my man. They do. Let's give it a swatch. Let's give it a little look. All right, okay, let's do this thing. what you saw or heard, if you were listening, then you just hear some funky kind of music and not have a clue really what's going on. This was the next-gen update, next-gen ray tracing update for Half-Life 2. So they've literally added ray tracing, of course, but also overhauled the graphics a lot as well. And it does look stunning. It really does look stunning. This is coming off the conversation, Gray, that I come into, was it last week or 2 weeks? Last week we had Taro on, and you're talking about remasters. This kind of is a remaster, and it does look absolutely stunning. Should this be done to more games, boys, do you think?
Like, sure. Depends on the game. Depends on the game.
As we said last time, yeah. You know, as long as it doesn't lose its story or adds to it instead, then maybe.
That's a remake, brother. What is the difference between a remake and a remaster, though?
I don't know. Everybody throws that around all the time.
Remake adds more, doesn't it, than a remaster? Remaster is just a
remake
that makes it shiny.
A remake
the last Dead Space that came out, the Dead Space that came out recently, which was an overhaul of the Dead Space 1, that was a remake because they tore it down and went from the ground up.
Yeah.
So that was a total remake. Everything else is remastered. They don't do a whole lot of remakes.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's quite.
It'd be more costly,
isn't it? Yeah.
True. Well, this one here, I think this is just a remaster rather than a remake for sure, because it's just improved everything. I don't have a problem with remakes as long as you're improving the original, because sometimes they actually do improve the original. Sometimes the game was pretty meh, and they've done a remake and actually improved it. It's a very dodgy thing to do, though, because you could piss a lot of diehards off. But this looks stunning. I believe it's out now because I couldn't see an actual release date. So, and it's just done by the modding community. It's not an official thing, so they don't make money from it, and Valve can't get upset and whatnot. So, I don't really do mods, as you know. I'm boring and I'm vanilla. So maybe Gray will try it because he's Mr. Mod.
Oh, I will definitely try it because one of the reasons why I avoid going back to the game was because of the graphics. Now that I'm looking at this, I'm going like, ooh, okay. Now
Still think Gray's a weird one. He didn't have time at the time when it came out, but it was current he doesn't like old graphics, as we know, but at the time they were state of the art, and he didn't play them when they came out at the time, even though without the internet, they were using telegrams back in the day when Gray was younger.
Time traveling again.
Back in the day, you would have had time to play that, and you would have probably had some kind of PC. You would have heard the hype about this game, and yet you still didn't play it.
I like I said, I played some of it, but I did not have a great PC back then.
Did you not? Oh, right. Okay. That's because you actually had to feed your kids, to be fair. Fair enough.
You know, that
I sounded like a B-52.
But yeah, that does look pretty stunning. Gray will put it into the video edit like a proper copy of it. And we'll get Gray to check that out because he's the mod guy, to be fair. Mr. Matthew of Irish, Mr. Gray gave you a heads up, I hope, about that news article about Valve Steam OS. Now, you and I talked about this briefly within the last couple of weeks. And I wonder if you can just update us all and elaborate on what's going on, because it's a thing that was made official at CES, by the way, this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I kind of dropped that in there for you, so I
don't... No, it's not got my name, my friend. No, it's not got my name. It's Mr. Matthew.
Hey, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry.
You can do it if you want. I don't mind. I'll just go like this. I'll just sit here.
He'll go to sleep in his wine.
I mean,
Sorry, Matt. Did you get a chance to look at it? It's okay if you didn't.
I kind of did. Yeah. So I kind of had a little glimpse. I put in my own little words. I got my own 4 here.
Good.
So here we go. Let's have a look at this. Because a little backstory. I'm not really into like Valve's controllers, Steam Decks, all that stuff because I just don't find it usable. Not in my life, and anyways, Steam Deck wise, you know, I was annoyed with it quite a bit because I think you could add Windows to it, but it was always, you know, sketchy. And once you've done that, they've always found a way to make it fail, sort of thing. And so that's always been one thing. So anyways, Valve's full Steam OS. This is what we're going to be talking about now. 4 reasons why it may revolutionize the PC gaming. So let's hear it. The Valve Corporation is poised to make waves in the gaming world, as you probably heard. Once more with the full release of the Steam OS. I think we did speak about this as well last time.
Yeah.
Based on the Linux service. Sorry.
I don't like it either.
Yeah. So anyway, aims to optimize gaming performance and provide a seamless gaming experience across various devices, like things you shouldn't touch at all. So there you go. So here are the 4 reasons. Anyway, so it's cheaper. It is cheap. It's free, isn't it? So there you
yeah, exactly.
There you go. With the elimination of costly Windows licenses, gaming handheld manufacturers can offer more affordable devices. I think it limits, though, doesn't it? It limits things as well. So, there's pros and cons there. It costs for high quality gaming and making it accessible to a lot more people. For ourselves, gamers who couldn't afford such devices that they might own, like a proper PC. But there you go. Better game optimization. So, with
That
more
would be
gaming handhelds, devices that adopt the Steam OS, they have driven to optimize their games for lower end hardware. This shift could lead to better performance and enhancing gaming experiences across a wide range of Raspberry Pis. By focusing on optimization, developers can also ensure that the games run smoother, even on hardware with limited resources. Sounds pretty good so far. It may actually kick a new widespread of costs cutting down for others as well, even for maybe Intel.
I mean, if you're playing your whole Steam catalog, it would be nice if the Steam Deck would play it better.
Yeah,
so this is what the
more,
idea. Yeah, I mean, if it's more optimized, then I would think that would be great. I can only compare to, like, my son uses Steam Deck, and I don't, like you, Matt. I don't really prefer to use it, but he does. He likes the handheld. He's got all the handhelds, and he rocks his games on there, and he loves it. So. I mean,
it's still quite limited on what games you can play on it as well, which is ridiculous.
Well, yeah, but it's a handheld. It's got it's thin. It's people know that.
It's quite big.
Yeah, I was surprised when my son showed it to me. It's a nice hunk of machinery.
It's a big chunk. Yeah. You can smack someone with that. Someone in the McDonald's queue, smush. Get rid of knives. Just use that. There you go.
It'll be a new thing on Mortal Kombat. Come over here, and he hits him with a Steam Deck.
Yeah, that's it. Come on. What's that say there? Yep.
Mercedes says you can install it on the AMD based desktop right now.
Yeah,
I'll let Matt finish his thing because they're talking about it at CES, some new releases, but I'll let Matt finish his thing.
Yeah, so Linux also it's becoming harder to ignore because its widespread adoption could push more developers and gamers to consider the Linux as a viable gaming platform. Historically, not hysterically.
Probably that as well.
Yeah, there you go. Linux has struggled to gain traction in the gaming community, which it has. However, with Valve's backing and the potential for a robust ecosystem, Linux might finally earn the recognition that it deserves from a formidable gaming platform, maybe. Also, the enhanced couch gaming experience.
A lot of people doing that.
Yeah, there is now. Yeah, it's coming a thing. Couch sports. There you go. Making it easier for gamers. Yeah.
And we don't mean it for your butt. It's for the game.
Coming to the Olympics soon.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's official sport in France as well. There you go. Enjoy their favorite PC titles from the comfort of the couches, as we should do. This approach is similar to how players interact with the Nintendo Switch, offering a seamless transition between handheld and dock modes. With SteamOS, Valve aims to bridge the gap between traditional PC gaming, console gaming, to enhance the overall user's experience. So it could mark a significant turning point in the gaming industry by providing gaming for cheaper handhelds, encouraging better games, optimizations, a better platform that's hopefully more widespread for everybody.
Open isn't Linux still open source too?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, like Valve, I know I'm like Matt. Like, I'm not really a fan of Linux in that respect. However, Valve done such a good job with this that they took a version of Linux called Proton and further fine-tuned that, and it's turned into such a good gaming system. And the thing is, back in the day, you remember the Steam boxes, right?
Yeah.
You remember the Steam boxes from back in the day. Now, that failed. That failed because Mercy's just saying he runs Linux on my laptop and servers, but Windows on my PC. How else can I play COD?
Yeah.
I think that's what it was more aimed at, Mercy, and I'll be honest with you. But back in the day, you'll remember the Steam boxes, right? The problem was that was just a label. Manufacturers were going out and literally all different kind of configs were going there. There was no standard set of rules and policies for this, so it didn't really work. So now, the version of Steam OS that's on the Steam Deck is now an official thing that was officially launched at CES. Lenovo are the first on the bandwagon with their Lenovo Legion Go. Now, that's, if you remember the handheld from last year that had the detachable controllers, that's big beast, right? And one of the controllers you could turn into a mouse. You hold it like that, and it had the base at the bottom, and it was like an RTS type mouse situation. It was nuts. It was a huge battery on it, blah, blah, blah. But Windows is on that, and Windows is a bit of a bomb scare at the moment, at the best of times, especially in handhelds. It wasn't really built for it. So SteamOS are going to bring this out, and Lenovo went, we've got several models announced, right? And they are Lenovo Legion Go, and which is an 8.1 inch, I think it is, yeah, and Lenovo Legion Go S 8.1 inch. Now, there's two variations of that. The latter, the Go S is the Go S is powered by Steam OS, and that's the version that people like more, better battery life. It's going to be optimized more, etc., etc. You've also got Lenovo Legion Go 8.8 inch. Now, one of these models, I'm trying to see which one it is. One of these models will have the new, but we'll talk about it shortly, the new AMD Z2 Extreme on it. Now, that's the latest fancy dancy chip. So one will be more Windows based, with a couple of SKUs, and one will be Steam OS based. And then you choose what size of screen you want. They've also got a Lenovo Legion Pro 7i, which is a 16-inch. That's more of a bloody laptop than anything else, man. Wow.
I was going to say, that's a handheld? How do you hold it up?
Yeah, no, that is a laptop, to be fair.
Okay.
This is a list of things I've got from small to large.
Yeah.
But it's the handhelds we're interested in. Well, I'm not. But they've got the first. Lenovo have got the first official Steam OS handset, and that just means now going forwards. Hey, Tar. Is Tar in? Did I miss him? Oh, he is. Oh, I'm so sorry, my friend. I'm awful. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Mr. Bitch. Call you Mr. Bitch. So yeah, we're really excited. Well, you're in time for the CES stuff. We were talking about Half-Life. Are you moist as well? That's okay if you are. That's don't be embarrassed. As my title says there. Yeah. Our friend and colleague Tar come in, Jedi Bitch, on the Discords.
Game name.
He's joined us last week. He can't make it this week, but I know he's excited for Half-Life 3 as well. So, and Merson, what's Merson saying here? If you buy a game on Steam, you can download both the Steam OS and Windows versions if available. That's a very good question. I don't know the answer to that.
You can, as long as it's, if that game is compatible with it, they should do, yes.
Yeah, but you're going to have something to switch it from one to the other, though, right?
But you get a bootloader. Yeah. Mac done it for ages, man. Yeah. Mac went from boot camp to Windows until they kiboshed that. So yeah. There he is. He's
pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, the missus tonight is going to wonder why it was so good, and the G-Man has got all the credit. There's so many comments you can make from that comment. Thanks to the G-Man. Anyway, we're distracted. So yeah, Steam OS is going to be phenomenal because it's actually got rules and policies and procedures in place. You can't just throw anything at it, and that'll be a lot better going forward. So I'm excited for that, to be honest with you.
Are you going to buy another Steam Deck?
Maybe. But I would think I would want it more for the retro scene. The thing is, Valve admitted they're not working. They may be lying. They're not working on a version of the Steam Deck that's got the Z2 Extreme chip in it. They said that. They might be lying. I've no reason to think they are lying. So I'd get a second hand of the first gen one for my retro setup because I've got a little SD card with like a terabyte worth of retro ROMs and stuff on there that I could use. So we'll see, boys. Yeah. We'll see.
Never say never.
Never say never. Mr. Gray, you've got some hardware news to start off with to ease them into the CES news, which will follow after Matt's game review. Actually,
yeah, I was actually happy to see this just because of the competition that needs to be done out there in the GPU market. But most of us, or people out there also that have been listening to us, knows that Intel has been producing GPUs as well, video cards, and nobody took them seriously at first, but then slowly they've kind of improved it rather quickly, actually, over time. And the Battle Mage, which was I believe it's 12, it's either 12 or 16 gigabyte, I forget, was made to help machines that are a little lower end, not lowest, but lower or lower to mid. They weren't sure how it was going to sell, but they put it out there, and it sold much better than they thought it would. Which is a good thing, again, for competition. So Intel decided that since it did do so well, that now they're going to put out a Battle Mage GPU with 24 gigabytes of VRAM, so they can start approaching the upper middle to lower and high level, whatever. So I think it's great, considering that Nvidia can't always be the only one in there, even though they seem to be the only one. But since they're into it, they apparently into it to stay, and they're going to make it cost effective. Now, I haven't heard anything about price for this thing. They just talked about making it, and so probably by the time it hits the market, it's going to be, probably at least another year or maybe less, depends, and whether they've already got it prepared. So I have no clue what it's going to sell for. But if the prices are going to be as reasonable as before, then it could be very cost effective.
Yeah.
That card, really quickly, Gray, is interesting because it's obviously Intel and AMD are pretty much going to be fighting between themselves for the low to mid range GPU market, right? And this sounds like it's a kind of mid range type card. The new cards that we're going to be talking about shortly from Nvidia are the range, but the kind of 5080 16 gig of VRAM, and then you've got a bonkers 32 gig of VRAM for the 5090. So this fits in there just nicely. That's what she said. 24 gig, right, just in the middle, which is perfect. But with more VRAM is good if you're at higher resolutions because it tends to take more VRAM. So if this is a mid-range card, maybe Tara know the answer to this. Why it needs as much VRAM as it does.
They're talking about being high-end, but I'm thinking it's going to be the lower end of the high-end.
5070 equivalent, maybe. Pushing it.
Yeah. Well, it may. Well, yeah, maybe. But I don't care. Like I said, it's nice to have the competition. So it's at least it stirs the pot up and allows. Hey, look. We're going to talk about it in a minute, but with the prices going completely bonkers again with the new 5000 series cards that Nvidia is bringing out, people want choices. People want choices.
We'll get to it. I don't think they're bonkers.
The prices. I don't. I'm like, oh my god.
I don't know, but stop looking at partner cards. You've got to start at vanilla and work your way up. Stop it.
Yeah, but you're not going to get the vanilla card. We'll talk about that when we get
there. You watch me.
Jump.
You watch me.
But you'll be like one of the only ones. You'll be only.
There we go.
Let's talk about that when we get to that. We're not there yet. So anyway, be looking for this. They seem to be serious about this, so we should start seeing Battle Mages at 24 gigabyte, and we'll see how well it performs. So that would be pretty interesting, to say the least. So we'll see. The next thing is we've been talking off and on the podcast about this, and that's the fact that AMD now has officially announced the Ryzen 9 9950X3D. And we were, going on this last one when Tara was on too, how great the chip is. It's been touted by a lot of people as being the best gaming PC available, CPU, and pretty much nobody disagrees with that. Over the Intel and stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this thing is going to do out in the wild. It's going to have 16 Zen 5 cores, CPU cores. You can get up to 5.7 gigs, but that's by using their max boost frequency, which I guess is their overclocking thing.
Yeah.
144 megabytes of total cache was second gen AMD V cache.
That's important bit, Gray. See that cache. That's what makes it better than the chip before it.
I've never seen a number like that for cache. I'm like, wow, that's like, woo. Makes me want to tear the chip I have in mine out. But I just bought it, so I don't know. Maggle said I do, but it has some troubles at high FPS, 9800C 3D.
Hello, Hans.
That's a little different.
It is.
Nice to see you, son.
It's also got 32 threads, 2 CCDs. However, they're only going to be boosting, like we said, one of the CCDs.
Yeah, Tar was upset about this.
Yeah, I don't blame him but from what I heard on, I don't know if it was Foundry
it's a limitation. It's a limitation. They can't do it.
Hardware limitations.
I firmly believe it's going to be that way because they're going to have a new and improved CPU, and they're just going to hook it up and say, "Look, you watch." That's the way marketing works, man. They leave something undone. You remember? God, I don't know what it was. I think it was an Nvidia card. I don't know which one it was. Where they did that, but somebody got smart and they went into the GPU and tore it apart and found the piece that was in there that was turned off. And he went in there and turned. They got to be really talented and know what to do. So he went in there and actually turned the other piece on, and he was able to get a card better than what he had by simply flipping an electronic switch.
Nice.
So sometimes they put it in there, sometimes they don't, but because they figure no one's gonna be smart enough to do that. And granted, there's only like a couple people that are even talented enough to get close to doing that. But this guy did it. And I was sitting there going like, wow, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So yeah.
I have to start splicing these things now.
Yeah, you have to get the soldering iron out.
Yeah,
I can do it. Who cares if the transistor's smaller than my hair on my head? I'll be able to do it. I just got to get a better magnifying glass. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it'll do.
Anyway, they're talking about the 9950X 3D being out in Q1 of this year, so that means like real soon. Like it's coming. It's going to be on for sale soon. They also have a slightly lower version, the 9900 X3D, which has a little less cores, 12 instead of 16, 5.5 instead of 5.7 gigahertz, and a little drop in cache, although not much, down to 140 megabytes and a little less power. So I guess I don't know what the difference will be on the pricing, but even if you were to go for the lower end, if you want to call it that, 9900 X3D, you'll still be doing pretty good.
Yeah.
So basically that's kind of exciting. So I'm really curious to see when it comes out. Obviously they ran it through a bunch of different games and stuff, but I don't really hold that. Anybody, Nvidia's, AMD, I don't care who it is, when they first come out with their own test results, I don't even bother. I just wait till somebody like Digital Foundry or somebody runs it through its paces, and then you really get the truth.
That's when it matters. Yeah, exactly.
So you can, everybody just jumps on the bandwagon and goes, "Oh my god!" As we're going to talk about in a minute, when what's his face made that bold claim about the 5070 being equal to the 4090,
which is bullshit. Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah. They did put an asterisk underneath. To be fair, blah blah blah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to him.
You will get to that.
No one was paying attention.
Tales may have been told somewhere down the line.
But nobody was really paying attention to that one, so it's just kind of like. To go hand in hand with the new chip, of course, we all expected this, but AMD's FSR4 is coming out. Yes, everybody remembers Fisser, but
in addition,
for the PC, it's only Fisser. So FSR4 is coming out. It's going to replace the 3.1. They premiered it at the CES, and apparently it has a lot of great improvements over the 3.1, particularly in performance. Which usually brings about the type of quality you need for when you start bringing it up, the visual quality when you start looking up. So I fully expect that to be something good. And I assume that the FSR4 will still run on even NVIDIA cards as well. So that's kind of interesting, because if you don't want to use their native DLSS or whatever, you maybe prefer to play around with FSR. So if it is still compatible with the NVIDIA cards, I think that's pretty interesting. So we'll see.
Look what Hans said. Is this accurate?
FSR is only for AMD cards because they now have a dedicated hardware.
It was always AMD's thing that they made themselves different from Nvidia because you don't need an AMD card. Anyone could use it. Are they now saying FSR is only for their own cards now? Really?
I don't know, because I'm looking through here and I'm not seeing that saying that. And I'm not saying they wouldn't do that, but I find it a little bit harder to believe, only because that was one of their big deals when they came out with FSR, that it could run on any card, and I think that was a big advantage for people that didn't want to run perhaps Nvidia's version or whatever. So I wonder. I mean, if
they're not sharing their pisser with the fisher, then
yes, and that's another hole.
Yeah, they might want to just keep all of their fisher.
What I'm thinking maybe might happen, and I think this would be dumb, but I could see it happening. They might bring out FS4 to work only on AMD cards for a brief period, and then just open it up after that to all the other cards. So I can see that maybe. I wouldn't do it. I think it'd be stupid, but then again, we don't know. So I don't know unless I when it does come out, which will be real soon, we'll see. But I hope they don't do that. I hope they go with what they always did, and that it should work on all the cards, because that would kind of tick me off a little bit if they only made it for theirs, because they haven't in all this time. And that's one of the things that people like about it. That's some of the things that people remember, that AMD does. That's a good thing. So we'll see.
I hope that's not the case. I really hope that's not the case, because that will suck. But then I'm kind of also not surprised at the same time, because they need to try and get more people buying their own cards. Dare I say it?
Sure.
Which makes sense. And there you go. Just for you, Gray, you probably didn't notice the ease of the right way around. There you go, sir.
Say again, what?
The ease of the right way around. So we got a few comments here. FSR 4 is RDNA 4 only. Okay, right. So currently only the 9070. And Hans here, AMD confirmed it was only for RDNA 4. Right. I've got a question. Where is it? This is for Tarl. Explain to the people why, Tarl, the 9800 X3D is still the one to go for gaming. Why would that be more true over the 9950 XD? But sure, are you meaning bang for buck? Because the 9950 XD I thought was a better chip, but maybe not for the money. Because I am seriously looking. I can't believe I'm going to say I'm going to go to AMD like later this year. It's bonkers. But if that's a better chip or bang for buck, I would try and get a good price in it, or a secondhand chip or something, and stick that into a new system rather than go for the latest CPU. I'm not as CPU daft as a lot of people are. I'm more about the GPU. I've got away with my i9 9900K for 6 years now, 5-6 years. It's nuts. So, but yeah, I'm sure you'll give me an answer.
He just did. He said because of the one CCD only.
What, as opposed to the 9800 that's got two? Is that correct? I don't, like to say, I've got an interest in this, and I know a bit about it. I don't pretend to be an expert. So by all means, you want to explain to the people and ourselves what's what in terms of gaming, because it is gaming first and foremost that we all want it for. And we do a little bit of editing and stuff, especially Gray, for the podcast. But I mean, I'm sure a chip like that would eat that up for breakfast anyway. So, right, okay. He says here the 9800 X3D will have better FPS than the 9950 X3D. It's a bit slow today, the comments there. Sorry, guys. Intel is also going for V-Cache next gen. What are you saying, Gray?
I know. I was sitting there going, like, I'm a little surprised that the speed would be lower on the older chip. Then
interesting.
Why would they come out with the newer one then if they didn't know that?
I mean, yeah, I think the newer chip is supposed to be. Is it not supposed to be better for a multi approach?
They're
multitasking for different things. Editing.
They're saying the best in gaming and the best for content
overall. Yeah, overall chip. Yeah. Well, if that's the case, Tarl, 9800 X3D might be a shout. Although, is the clocks in that? I would imagine the clocks in that would be slower. I know it's not all about the clocks, but certainly with the 3D cache that they've got, if they could have their chips running at the speeds that Intel do, oh man, Intel would not be able to touch them. Imagine you had the 3D cache that's so popular with them, but you had several of your cores running at 6 gig. Oh man, that would be. I changed my title to something more expletive than I've already got under Trev. Anywho, now we're getting closer to the news about CES that we want to talk about. However, before we do that, Matt's been Matt plays some shite sometimes. He really does, but he takes one for the team. Great.
I like hearing about some of this stuff.
What have you been playing, and why have you been playing it?
I've been playing quite a few weird things as of late. Right. So the first one,
games too,
and the games too as well. Yeah. So God. First one. All right, is a little bit more down to earth, a bit more available, I guess you could say. Ambulance Life, a Paramedic Simulator.
More simulator games.
Yeah, wow. So I was looking at simulators, at demos, because I was kind of like, oh, there's got to be something around. Let me have a look around. So that's what I did. So this one is about paramedic. Pretty much it's realistic paramedic. Get my teeth back in.
Not paralegal or anything like that.
Yeah, no, not yet. I haven't seen that one up there yet. They're lacking, Judge Judy VR. There you go. So players take on a role as a paramedic, providing first aid and transporting serious injured patients to hospital after some certain incidents that happened. The game aims to offer an authentic experience by collaborating with real paramedics and hospital staff during its development.
Really?
Yeah. So it is quite intuitive. It is a hard game to play, especially trying to learn the ropes and what you're trying to do. So I think I may have brought a dead person to the hospital.
What if you work in first aid or something? You actually are a paramedic. Surely it's easy.
Yeah, because then you know what you're looking for, sort of thing, and then you can triage a little bit better than I did. So it's quite realistic scenarios that are going on. Very detailed, realistic medical stuff going on, requiring players to follow proper protocols and use medical equipment efficiently, which you do. I think the first mission is like a little tutorial, but it doesn't really go into a lot of things. So it's kind of missing quite a bit from the tutorial side of things. So you go to your first patient, you get called out to it, you go off. There's one where this guy just faints over and you have to ask him a few questions, and then with those questions you kind of look and see how he is. From there, you then have to look at your tablet and summarize what you found, and then get an idea of what treatment to give them. Once you've done that and you locked it in, you have to follow the treatment parts. So you have to, before do that, you have to whack them on a trolley into the ambulance and then do your treatment there.
Wait a minute, whack them on a trolley?
Whack them, literally they're picking them up.
If they're not dead, they are now.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
The guy's having a heart attack and you just throw him right.
Yeah. So no backboards or anything in use or anything. It's just straight pick them up and whack them on there. There you go. So yeah, there is a little bit of nudity, but not much. It does come up with a thing saying that things are going on show, but it's just
that would be the real world.
Bras and pants. Yeah, exactly. So it was quite interesting. You have to put the thing on the finger, the cuff around the arm. Do the readings there to get a better idea, and then go through the treatments, medication, whatever is needed. Once they're stabilized, or if you can, get them to hospital, sort of thing. So that's pretty much it.
Did you get to pound anybody's chest during the game?
No, I should have done because because one of the guys that picked up kind of died. He didn't have heartbeat. I was like, oh, should I stop and give it to him, or should I just carry on?
He's dead, Jim.
He's dead, Jim, but not as we know it. Oh, he's living well is. So yeah, he ain't sleeping. He's definitely dead.
So what you're saying is you didn't have time to pound on his chest, but that was it.
He's only sleeping.
Gray means the American pounds, right? Not what we would sometimes think of it as in the UK. But yeah,
I threw tons of money at him. He still didn't move.
No, not even the currency. The other kind of pound, the third kind of pound.
Yeah. Well, that would have been shocking. Yeah. So, it was quite interesting. There was another call I had to do, which was a huge, major fire that happened, an explosion. So you went there and you had to triage the people around the area. And I kind of went to the first person who was quiet and picked them up and then did my bits and pieces and all that stuff, whacked them in there. And of course, once he's in the ambulance, that's it. You can't really do anything else. You can't triage the other people. You have to go with that person.
Yeah.
So I kind of like failed miserably at this thing, and it just went to hell from there on in. Yeah. So you got this tablet that's supposed to give you access to give you necessary information and guidelines to treat patients. Some of the parts I ignored, but it's quite interesting. It is a single player experience, but it is a big sized world that you in.
What was your final score on the on one of the runs?
Oh my gosh! Well, yeah, they do have scores as well. One was an S, one was an A, and the other one was D or something. Yeah. So D for death.
Which that spells sad.
D for dead. D for dead. Oh, man,
yeah.
that
was my virtual name on there was virtually dead. There we go.
Virtually.
Yeah.
VD.
Yeah.
You cracked me
So
up,
there will be more customizations for the ambulance for your crew members and yourself, but there isn't much at the moment.
Did you get to do any minor surgery or anything? Like just little,
Well, I stuck a needle in somebody and gave them morphine.
Yeah,
that was
okay.
fun.
Me next.
Yeah, I was like, well,
I'm dying.
woo. Yeah, no wonder my ambulance is all over the place.
Except you're stabbing it in your arm by accident. Ooh.
Yeah, there you go.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Those bumps on the road. So they are going to introduce more tutorials for beginners. There's going to be more modes as well, such as classic mode, which will be guided.
Wait. Classic mode.
Classic mode. So you kind of like be guided through the gameplay sort of thing. So I'm guessing that might be a story.
I thought we were going to go like to the 1800s version of
Oh yeah. Get the horse caught out now. Bring out your dead. Dun.
They'll be looking at his leg. I'm sorry, he's got a bad insect bite. Off with the leg.
Yeah. Yeah.
Off with his head.
I'm not dead, sir. Oh, but you can take him away, can't you? There you go.
Like the knight who gets his arm and legs chopped off. Just a flesh wound?
It's not a flesh wound. Come back.
Monty Python, for those that don't know.
Yeah. So there you go. The developers so the demo is out on Steam at the moment that the developers have let out. They're very eager for people's feedback. They're actually very intuitive. They are responsive as well. I'm loving the game so far. Optimizations for the game is a bit lacking at the moment, but they are going to get that up and going as well. The realistic gameplay is really praised by the people who have played it already so far. They've also said for improvement, we need more vital sign monitoring optimizations for the game as well, which I agree with. But it is a pretty good game. It looks very interesting. It might be one that I do actually buy down the road once they start adding a little wee more to it. So yeah, there we go.
Okay. Did you buy the deluxe edition that gives you the red spinning light?
No, but they do have other sirens and lights that were not available.
No, because he would have to change the bulb.
Yeah, and there wasn't four of us.
If you know, a lot of Americans won't get that one because they don't watch Red Dwarf. But if you know it like we do, are you sure, sir? That means changing the bulb. That's the funniest single thing I've ever seen in the whole comedy worldwide ever. That one line. Before you talk about the next game, Mr. Matt.
Yes.
I know we're a bit rude in this podcast. Can I just check that this title alone isn't as bad as it actually sounds?
Go on.
Kinky Bits VR.
That's not the name. I just put it there.
Thank God for that, because I was panicking. I was like, what you do on Pornhub VR
I am
is
trying
your
to keep it clean as much as possible, and it's never going to happen. But so there.
Hey, no, listen, you've got a powerful VR headset. There's a lot of pretty ladies.
I've got 3 that I have to put through its paces to check and review. Yeah. There was some of that. A bit more of a waka 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 or a tour.
We're off the rails now.
We are, yeah. This is it. You wanted it. You asked for it. It's coming. And I don't mean that in the right way either.
I've got nothing. As my title
says,
that.
You can't follow that.
You can't
that's why I didn't say anything. I've got nothing. I'm out.
So along with these demos, I was like, there's a lot of Dirty Shenanigans on Steam. And yeah, so here it is. I can't remember the name of it. What is it called? JoyLab VR?
JoyLab?
JoyLab.
That doesn't sound much better.
It doesn't. There was
Kinky
another one I
Bits.
tried. But yeah, Kinky Bits would have been better. Yeah.
Quite ironically, Fekka just texted and he goes, "Sorry, I had to nip off. Are we talking about Captain Hardcore?"
Well, you just caught us at the wrong moment with a bad joke that went pretty south quickly. Yeah,
it was kind of prickly.
It was.
Wow,
yeah,
wow,
it was. It's the title of a game that we thought Matt had actually covered in VR, and thankfully he hadn't. It's just what he gets up to on his spare time.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah. Well.
Mr. Actually.
You're just all over the board, so just tell me.
No, because it is literally everywhere. I think it's better. Gray,
at this point, we should get into some CES. It's been a little while, no?
Yeah, but then I'm going to talk about hardware, literally in a big chunk. Could you tell us about the game you were playing, Gray, which was Axis Unseen?
You don't want to talk to me about the bits yet?
Oh, I thought you were playing it. It doesn't exist.
Go for it.
It exists.
What?
Yeah.
Make up your mind, man.
Well,
you said it doesn't exist.
Well, the name I put doesn't exist, but it should do. There you go. I'm a royalties if they put that in. I'm telling you.
Go for it, Matt. Go for it, my
That's
son.
What she said.
Okay, let's hear it.
So this is a raunchy NFSW. Is that what they call it in the new age thing? I don't know.
It's
of games in VR that are made by Asian people. Anyways, so
they're made by UB Raunch.
Yeah. So JoyLab is one of the things.
Is this true, Matt? Is this true? You've done 54 hours in it, you dirty dog.
I may have left it and gone off to do other things.
Yeah,
but it doesn't take me that long. Anyways, maybe it does. Anyway, sorry. So this is kinky kind of a play in VR, but this one was kind of lacking, very lacking, to be honest. I didn't know what I was doing. There was nothing was working. I was tapping things. It was just this empty hall, pretty much.
Did you take the blue pill? The blue pill fixes
I think this one was the red one. I think
the red one.
Yeah.
The Matrix.
Yeah. So you're supposed to have this thing where you see this animated avatar of a ladyship of some sorts, which you can do things to with toys and things. And the toys are interactive, so you could put them into places.
Oh my god! All this stuff
into you can fill things with it, and things work. And there's buttons to make things shoot out at things.
Buttons.
I'm trying to, So So it was quite interesting, but you couldn't really do anything. And the only jiggly bits was the back end bit, which is kind of boring. So it was crap, and it was animated, very anime style.
I love the code words
character.
for all this. This is
it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, that
talk
too.
about these things. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. That's kind of the whole point, you know.
We could do a whole show on that.
Yeah, and there was another one called
but we could.
Captain Hardcore, but that was seriously lacking as well because it was just a demo, and you just had this a TV set. You had a video
That's
camera.
For you, Matt. That's for you.
It was like a simulator of you having to video these VR kinky. Yes, that's the one. Yes,
I can't reach over there.
So Hans, that's exactly what it is. But it was kind of lacking again. All you could do is have toys and put it into the top
things
of the head thing, and
Beckett's got a question for you.
Yeah.
No. I tried.
Scratch and sniff. You tried. Would you scratch your screen?
Yeah.
No, not the screen, Grade.
I know.
Yeah. But you couldn't really do anything with that person. You can move the limbs. That was it.
Like a doll.
So it was pretty much like a rag doll. You could put them into certain areas and use the toy on just the head, mouth bit. That was it. Yeah. And jiggly bits were kind of jiggly. Physics. That was about it. Nothing else really.
That's old news. Everybody knows. Everybody does jiggle.
Yeah. And I wasn't going to pay 30-odd quid or 40 quid for these things. So I was just like, nah. Maybe Fectic can share their library and we could play it from theirs.
Fectic says, hate to be your neighbor walking past the window watching you play that.
They're used to it. They're used to it, mate. They've seen worse.
They're used to it. That means there's a bunch of them.
Yeah. I'm the reason why they all got curtains now over there. They never used to have curtains. They do now.
Have you got more to add to it, Mr. Matt?
No, that's it. Just those two things. Okay. And then I gave up and ended up playing a medieval game, which was a little bit more interesting and fun. But that's for next time. So there you go.
Okay. I'm so sorry, people, to offend your poor ears, but Matt has to talk about a game he's played, to be fair. So
kept it clean. Kept it clean.
The game tried to play with him, but that was another story.
Yeah. We are going to... Great.
It wasn't co-op.
Matt.
That was the only thing.
Matt,
PvE.
we do have to jump into the hardware news because he had 2 fecking games, man. Jesus.
Yeah.
But to slightly backtrack,
I can't follow that.
What Taro said before, check the 9800 X3D versus the 7950 X3D benchmarks.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'll refer to your judgment. Who's to say that would be the case with the latest generation? Because we haven't been able to test out the brand new chip, to be fair. But I believe it's probably going to be the case, to be fair. And he goes on to say the 9800 X3D has just one CCD, which means there's no core parking or software shenanigans. It just runs full speed all the time for games. 9950 X3D has 2 CCDs, and since one of them doesn't have an X3D on it, so that means they're about the same, but with higher clocks. Taro, if you're still there. Because they're both then got one CCD again. Anyway, I don't pretend to be an expert at just showing interest, and that's all. And then he says sometimes has to do extra overhead stuff. I can get confused. One CCD, no confusion. Right? Okay, that maybe partially answers my question in that respect. So I will look into this, Taro, more because if I can, save a few shekels, I will do. It'll save me pennies when I go to buy a 5800. So we'll see.
But by the way, to add to Taro, I'm pretty sure it was Digital Foundry guy in an interview. He talked about what Taro was talking about. However, he liked the chip more, I think, than Taro does. But he did come out and say what Taro did about the 2 CCDs, but only one being hooked up to the 3D. So he brought it up. He wasn't super happy with it, but he did still admire the chip a lot. So
who was this? Great, was this Steve from?
I'm pretty sure it was a guy from Digital Foundry. It was during an interview.
Him. The bald guy with really bad teeth.
No.
He's typically that's a typical Englishman. Like those teeth are yellow. They're proper yellow. Oh, they're bad. They're bad. Oh, just offended whole England. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm not sure if it was that guy, but it was interesting. It just happened to come up in the conversation of the interview.
Okay, right. Okay, we'll crack on. The meat and the potatoes is coming up here. I'm just going to share this. It's actually so much easier just to share this. Biggest kept secret of all time. The new Nvidia graphics cards have been announced officially, and we have got them here. So we start off with the lowest version for now, the RTX 5070. RTX 5070 Ti, RTX 5080, and the RTX 5090. Now, if we take away the RTX 5090, because that's just bonkers, we start with this 5070 at actually a pretty reasonable price of $549. We then go to the 5070, and reasonable. Sorry, I should have done that. Apologies.
Well, but for Nvidia, that's awfully cheap.
Well, yes, it is. Yeah, we can only compare it to what it is, which is no one can really touch them in that level of competition. So, for them, it is cheaper. Yeah, 5070 Ti is $749. 5080 is $1,000, which is either the same price or slightly cheaper than last year. I think it's cheaper by $50 or $100 than last year. And then the 5090 is pretty much double the price, but it's literally double the performance, certainly for AI tops, which they're talking about now. Now, okay, there's so much to talk about here. We'll try and not make it as in-depth and as nuts as it could be. I tried to do my research on this beforehand. So some interesting things. First and foremost, the 5080-90 will come out on January 30th. I will try and get a 5080. I think I've decided because I can pretty much run it. It says you should use an 850 watt power supply. I've got a 750. I've done my research. I'll probably get away with the 750 because it doesn't use much more power than the 4000 series card. So I think I'll get away with that. I don't want to have to update my PSU quite yet, getting there. So I think if I sell my 4080 Super, I'm getting literally 3/4 of that payment paid for me because our Nvidia secondhand cards they sell really well. So that's what I'm thinking. And I like the vanilla cards. They're always got the smallest chassis on them. They look the best in my opinion. And I'm boring vanilla. It's the first cheapest cards to come out. So I'll try and get that. That's my aim anyway. Some of the technologies that are on these bad boys, and I will get to the comments from my resident tech nerds, Tarl and Hans after. But there's a lot to talk about. So for starters, HDMI 2.1B, I don't know why they just couldn't call it feckin' HDMI 3.0. Come on, guys, it's a big update. We're talking up to 4K 480 hertz or 8K 120 hertz using screen compression. Now, there's also new standard of DisplayPort coming out as well, which will support something like 80 gigabits of raw data, which is absolutely bonkers. Future proofing for what we won't need for quite a while.
There's a new HDMI standard too coming out.
Yeah, 2.1B. That's what I just mentioned just there. Literally that one there. But they should have called it 3.0.
I think it
would have made sense.
PCI Express 5.0 is now, I mean, it's been a thing for a bit, but this is a card that will work on that now. That's more for a 5090 because of how much bandwidth, how much data that thing gobbles up. You could get away with 5080 and lower on your peasant PCI Express 4.0 board, right? So you don't really need the 5.0 board if you want to future-proof yourself. Now, some other cool things about this, NVIDIA Reflex 2.0. Now, I tried to do my research on this one, and my God, I had my eyes met in the middle. It gave me a sore head. Basically, what it says in the tin, it's a latency tool. And it's pretty cool how this works out. It actually kind of dips into the game engine to try and get information ahead of time, like almost tries to reach in and grab it before it can get anywhere else so that you can literally cut down the latency of this car, of what you're seeing on screen and get more responsive gaming. Shooters will take advantage of that a lot. I would Google literally NVIDIA Reflex 2.0 and do your research on it, right? Also, we had frame gen on the 4000 series cards. We've now got multi-frame gen. So instead of one AI frame on top of your generated frame, you're then getting your generated frame and up to three AI generated frames. This is why the AI power of these cards is going up a lot more than the rasterization, right? We're getting close to hitting a ceiling in rasterization performance. This is why AI is going to be the big deal here now. Mm-hmm. Now, Gray had, I don't think I'm stealing your thunder here, Gray, but tell me if I am. This is why when NVIDIA came away with the comment of a 570 is the equivalent of a 4090, only when you're putting on all the bells and whistles under optimal circumstances. In real world situations, it's not. It's clever marketing. I'm not even angry at them because technically it's true if you put all the add-ons to that game, all the technologies and services there. You've also got, they aren't being completely nasty, you've got some of their technologies coming to older cards or more, they're improving them. Very kind of you. Thank you, NVIDIA. Thank you, Jansen. DLSS reconstruction, super resolution, which is equivalent to your pisser fisser that you boys love talking about. It makes things look shinier, and the PS5 Pro does a good job with using that technology. And DLAA, not to be confused with the driving regulators in the UK, because DVLA. They're all improved in older cards from the 20 series going up, which as well. So they are not being completely greedy in what they're actually showing. Now, I wonder, I don't think it shows you, so you've got a little table here of performance, which, you take with a pinch of salt until they test them out.
Wait, Trevor, I heard something on the graph.
Yeah.
If by the way, the people out there that can't see this, there's a graph where they covered a bunch of games: Far Cry 6, Plague Tale, Cyberpunk, and so forth.
Yeah.
But one of the commenters that I had seen on a video said the first two, Far Cry and Plague Tale, they said was actually a better idea of how the card will probably do in most normal games, because he was saying that everything from Cyberpunk up that they have on this list, Alan Wake, Black Myth Wukong, so forth, is designed to utilize the new technology, and that's why you see the graphs so strong. But he said he was actually surprised that Nvidia actually released the first two games statistics, because normally they wouldn't do that. They would only show you the other side of the chart that looks monstrous, right, in their favor. But he said that he was actually surprised that they actually put that in there. But they said if you wanted to go with an idea of what it would be in most normal games, then the graph for Far Cry 6 and Plague Tale was more realistic.
I'm not surprised they done that, Gray. If you've got big bollocks, you want to show them off.
Yeah.
And Nvidia, I've got... Have you ever seen South Park, the episode where Randy literally microwaves his nuts so that he could get weed for cheaper because it's Canada? Then that's Nvidia. That's Jack Jansen right now walking about. Listen, a couple of comments in from the guys before I get ahead. I knew you guys, you two, man, you literally must be sitting there like so excited right now. There's so many comments from you two. Jesus, slow down. Right, okay. So 5070, 12 gig of VRAM, just too low in 2025. Yes, Taro, I agree with you, mate. I will. The 5080, and is it the 70 Ti? I've got 16 gig. 16 gig's the same as my 4080 Super. Now, that's okay for the moment, but there'll be a few years down the line where that'll start to... They should have made that 18 or 20, I think. But I think you'll find the 5080 Super, when it comes out in a year time or whatever, will give you more VRAM. I thought that was a bit cheeky of them. If they bump that up a bit, we're talking, because it is a 4K card after all. We go on from Hans here. It's not that bonkers if you look at the like-for-like comparison. It's only bonkers thanks to AI. Yes, agreed, mate. Agreed. 100%. Tar, it's like a fight between them two. Like, who's the biggest geek? Tar here, 5090. Great card for professionals, not a gaming card unless you're super rich. Respectfully disagree, my man. Because rasterization performance is still more stronger than the 5080. It's not good gaming bang for buck. 100%. I agree with you in that aspect. But it is on AI front and rasterization front, it is more powerful. The VRAM is brilliant. You don't need that for gaming at the moment for 4K, but that's a future-proof card as well, Tar, the way I look at that.
Yeah, I'll keep you going for a while, won't it?
Oh, yes, thanks for bringing this up, Hans. Yeah. I wasn't going to get everything. I was going to forget some things. 5090 and the 80, even the 5090 are only 2-slot cards, where some of the 4000 series cards were 2.5 to 3 slots.
Yeah, I thought the 5090 was a 3.
It is. The 5090 vanilla is the 5090 Founders Edition card can actually fit in my case. It's actually smaller than my 4080 Super. Ooh. That is bonkers, boys. The power going through that. How they do it. They've revamped cooling.
More transistors.
Out of time.
Yeah, they've revamped the cooling there a little bit. That's probably helped, but absolutely bonkers. Tar was saying here, no opinions on the 5080 yet, but it looks like the AMD RX 9070 is really going to compete, so I would hold it until we know that info. Yes, I don't know a lot. We've got an article to talk about the new graphics cards, but from what I read, they don't have a release date, a price, and we don't really know a hell of a lot. But I don't know a hell of a lot about the performance, Taro. So if you know more about the performance, let us know by all means. What's we've got here? You just can't recommend the 5070 with 12 gig unless it's running 1080. Still a popular resolution. I think that's still the most popular resolution on Steam.
It's
maybe creeping up towards the 1440p.
1080p is right up there now. Yeah.
Like if that's the case, why are you spending $550 in a GPU? So
I think people will get the next one up rather than getting those ones because of the performance.
Matt, they might go for a Battle Mage. They might go for like an Intel
maybe.
GPU. That might be there.
24 gigs.
I mean, if you had that and that, I'd go Battle Mage.
So Hans is saying here, Reflex 2 will use AI algorithm to guess what the next frame plus 3 will be to try and reduce latency. Yeah, I mean, that's a better way of summing it up, to be fair.
But I want to address what he said, because I did see one video. I think it was the Digital Foundry guy. But anyway, what he was saying was it really depends on what you're looking for and what you prefer in a game. And people sometimes forget that. Of
course.
So what he was saying is that the plus 3 frames for people like us that we're playing, we want to have nice smooth video. Because I was looking at it. Smooth isn't the word. It was like really smooth. But he said where the gamers that are not going to like this and will turn it off are going to be the esports guys, because they're doing fast games. If you're playing really fast shooters, they said the plus 3 AI is going to be an annoying thing, and it's not going to make it. But if you're not playing those kind of games and you're not an esports nut, this may actually be perfect, because it's going to look so much better in many ways. So it was kind of interesting to hear the distinction, when you're an esporter and your face is 2 inches from the screen and you're,
of course,
or whatever. It makes sense. So it's not like it's all bad. Are they BSing in the marketing? Yeah, a little, yeah.
They gotta be.
Technically, what they're saying is true, mate. Technically, what they're saying is true. It's just how they go about it. It's marketing 101.
Right.
Can't get angry at them for that. You may as well just shout at the moon and
It's like it's almost exactly like the used car salesman. It is.
Of course,
when you go to get a car like that, what are you not going to go check it out? I mean,
Jansen is the biggest car salesman that ever existed.
The
head honcho of Nvidia.
So you got to take the hood off the 5090 and check it out
and have a look.
Yeah.
Here's what the
in between.
So here's what the 5080 looks like, boys. They're pretty much 5090, I'll be the same. Yeah. That looks like the 3,000 and 4,000 series cars, but refined even more. That looks nice. This is, you wonder why I like vanilla. There you go. It's just nice as is. Yeah, the partner cards will look shinier and bigger, and they'll have better cooling, so they'll run a bit higher, but they'll obviously cost more, and they won't come out immediately, not as quick as this. This is why I like vanilla. I think I've proven my point on that one. And that was built by the people that bloody designed the chip. So it's like the Mac thing. It's like Apple. Software and hardware together. There you go there. So it does look really nice. 2-slot card is absolutely bonkers, if you ask me. Now, the problem we had with the power connection, it all snapping off and getting faulty and bloody burning the house down, they've actually put it at an angle now, and it's one cable. So that is... It shouldn't really be there. It should be at the side.
It should have been at the side rather than the front. That's just ridiculous. Yeah.
But to be fair, it wouldn't. If it was on the side, I would struggle to get it in the case. So this is the best of both worlds for me. That it's at an angle, but still at the top, because you have more room usually above your card. Usually, but that looks good. I will try and get one. I may fail, but if I get it, then shiny. Yeah, so I mean, there's loads of information at this, to be fair, at the moment. Oh, they actually released clock speeds. I didn't see clock speeds originally. Originally? What is it? I just made up a word.
And originally.
Welcome to my world.
Clock speeds aren't everything. Take them with a pinch of salt. It's the same, I guess, with CPUs. They're important, but they're not as important as the ones were.
Well, look, the clock speed's higher on the 5080 than the 5090.
Yeah, but look when we down here, mate. If I actually, no, I won't zoom out. If I go down to the memory bandwidth, look at that. I mean,
big difference.
The memory bandwidth is for me the most important stat. It's like adding everything together and going, right, this is how good this card really is. 960 over, I think the 4080 Super is like 790 or something. So this is a good boost over that. But this is why, boys, Tarl, Hans, you pay that. You don't need it. Who actually ever needs that, to be fair? What person needs that? No one.
It's bragging rights.
Well, you need it. No, you want it. There's a difference, Matt.
Both.
Oh, you need that and want it. Yeah, very good. Charity. What have I missed out here? Jedi is saying...
He's got a good point.
5000 series looks to be about 20% faster than 4000 series in raw raster performance. Yes, and that's good. I'm happy with that. I'm still interested in the rasterization performance. You want to know why? Because DLSS is not in every single game. It's in a lot of them. And we haven't even talked about DLSS 4.0, which is exclusive just to 5000 series cards, which I can't get mad at again. It's their ball, their game. They can do what they want. It's a good reason to buy it because that's what gives you the multi-frame generation and gives you Reflex 2.0, etc. What else have I missed out? 4090 to 5090 is a much smaller gap than the 3080 to the 4090. Yes, true. And then, of course, Tar comes in here. Nvidia now making cards as good or as better than their partners. The gap's getting smaller, Tar, definitely. I wonder how the partners enjoy competing versus the supplier.
They don't enjoy it.
The partners are shitting themselves because they get these chips dropped into their lap last minute. They have to pay top dollar for them. They really struggle with their version of a Founders Edition card because they are not getting them cheaper. They have to pay top dollar for that. And then the Americans are going to get absolutely screwed with Trump and his tariffs because he gets inaugurated when? Anytime now, Gray? Soon? 20th?
Yeah, 20th. But the prices that we probably should talk about the prices since we're getting into it now. But but these are pre tariff prices, by the way. So we don't know ultimately where some of this is going to lead.
Yeah.
I have it's on our notes, but I have the little picture there with, I don't know if you have that one handy there, but if not, I'll put it in the video edit. But in any case, if you want to go from the 5080, 16 gigabyte overclock triple fan, this is now a PNY. So this is already a third partner. What they're going to do and how much money they're going to tag onto it. So the 5080 16 gig is going to be 1,799 pounds, which is $1,455. So
it's not much cheaper in the UK. Gets.
Yeah, it's not. But that's all. But still, that's only the 5080 16. So if you want to we're not going to even bother going on the overclock because if you're smart, you don't even buy an overclock. Yes, it's only $30 more, but you can do it yourself. Whatever. The 5090 32 gig card with triple fan is going to list at 3,349 pounds or $2,710. I'm like, wow. So that threw me for a loop, man. There you go. I don't think I can see her sheet too.
Doesn't matter. There's nothing to hide. Well, this is what happens when Gray literally copies this into the notes and doesn't actually grab it from a source and leave the link in there for me.
But that last price just threw me for a loop. I mean, I'm sitting there going like, okay, I get it, greedy pricing. We all talked about it before, but I'm looking at that and going like, wow, man, that's just way out there. Not just plain greedy, like way out there. So I'm just like, I can't even see what. And everybody that I've watched a bunch of different videos about with CES and so forth. And everybody uniformly are saying, do not bother with the 5090. It's way too expensive. And they even say stuff like, well, no one's in the right mind is going to buy it. So, and
there are not plenty of people. They wouldn't make them if no one would buy them.
Yeah, well, they don't have to sell that many to make their money back. They're already overcharged.
They know the most popular card will be the 5080. They know it.
Yeah,
hands down. They know that'll be the most popular card, hands
Still
down.
A lot of money, though. I mean, God.
No, it's
good price
the
there.
dollar edition. Listen, I really want that card, but I can't justify it. I really can't justify it. It's batshit crazy. It would future-proof me for such a long time. But the 5080 with all its technology and AI stuff in it will also future-proof me for at least a little while.
At least a year.
So, no, I'm not going to get bullied by my bloody colleagues again to get a bloody 5080 Super you get.
Well, you get me one, I'll do it for you.
My GPU is less than a year fecking old. I knew this would happen. Absolutely knew it, you bunch of sweary words. So let me just double check something. Right, okay, so
Hans said it's pointless in games, which he's right. I mean, as far as that kind of power. Even Tara was saying, I don't know if you can put it up, but it says if I can afford it and I'm a professional using Blender or Unreal, the 5090 is insanely good. Yeah,
I did bring the comment up, but you missed it.
Yeah, sorry. And so that makes that really tells you right there. if you are working with that kind of stuff, you need a card that's going to do some of that stuff. But since we're primarily gaming and not so much doing other things, you don't really need it. Again, bragging rights, you know.
Yeah. Even people struggle for the 5080. I get it, mate. I'm in a lucky position that I possibly could, because I'll get most of my money back for selling my 4080 Super. Listen, we've got less than half an hour left at a push of this, and there's a lot to get through. We won't get through everything, but we want to try and get through some more of the CES stuff. At least there will be a part 2, hands down. So AMD were there as well. Team Red fighting against Team Blue, and we've got at least AMD were there with some news on their new GPUs, but Asus actually unveiled some of their new cards. Their version of the Radeon RX 9070 XT and the RX 9070 Tough Gaming. Now, Tough is basically a kind of equivalent of their Founder Edition, if you like, or AMD's Founder Edition. I don't really think, did they even do Founder Edition? I don't know. Anyway, so this is where Tar, you knew, or you've read about some of the performance of these new GPUs from AMD. So if you've got any comments you want to add here as to why you think there'll be a match and to what cars there'll be a match, please fire it in the now while I'm going through some of this information. Armed with the latest RDNA 4. It sounds like that Hollywood guy. And super size 16 gig VRAM. Still 16 gig of VRAM is the popular amount of VRAM at the moment. It's kind of a future-proof card at the moment. They'll be compatible with FSR 3.1 and obviously 4.0 when they come out as well. DisplayPort 2.1 as well will be on this, which is the one that's got me more excited over HDMI, because DisplayPort is a PC gamer's wet dream. It's literally, you could run things at high resolution and frames without any screen compression, anything like that, and you're laughing. There's no release date or price on AMD's cards yet that I could see. No. But certainly, I'm looking forward. Competition is always a good thing. Competition is always a very good thing. There is, maybe I could just share. I mean, this isn't too exciting, this picture, but to be fair, AMD cars or even AMD partner cars never looked as cool as Nvidia cars. Nvidia just had a bit more style to it. I don't know if you boys agree or disagree to that one, but Nvidia cars look a lot sexier than AMD's just like the ugly sibling. You love them, but you're ugly, mate. Sorry. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the Linuses, the Steves of the world getting a hold of these the J's 2 cents and testing them out. I will try and get a card from Nvidia regardless. I don't need one. I want one. There's a difference. And even if they do testing and they say, "Oh, you're a sucker, Trevor," I don't care. I've still want a 5080. So,
well, if that's the case, we're all suckers for buying the cards.
Yeah, of course we're all suckers for buying it. Oh, now look at this one. That is
Radeon Prime.
Do I like it? I think I like it.
I think it looks
right. Anyway, so here's some stats on these cards. Right. So we're using the Navi 48 4-nanometer process. See, look, to be decided. There's so little information that I can see in this. So Tar seem to know more about this. Like, how Tar? Tell me who your sources are.
He has ways.
See, look, you're talking about competition, right? But do you think it matches? There we go. He's got a comment here. RX 9070 equals 48 performance. Apparently should be good if the price is decent. Yeah, look, Tar, not your fault. It's compared to a 4080, a last gen product. Oh my God, come on. AMD really need to do better, man. I mean, that's piss poor, in my opinion.
Yeah, but that's not their thing anymore, at least for now. They're not, they're not going the high performance. Probably because they don't want to even get into that market trying to sell it,
I know. I don't think, they don't have the same kind of money, far from it, compared to Nvidia. They don't. Yeah. They don't have nowhere near the same kind of money. And they're fighting on the GPU and the CPU front. I generally don't think they can afford to do everything. Although saying that, Nvidia are rumoured to be in bed with MediaTek to get a CPU out. So if they start competing in the CPU market, oh Jesus Christ, right? All bets are off for the richest company in the world. Apple will be like, we're happy with second place, thank you, please. Do you need more though? I mean, that's a subjective question.
Well,
Carl.
it's like we said before. Do you need it? No, but you'll get it anyway if you really want it.
You want it. You
Right.
want it. And some people do need it. Yeah, the average gamer wants decent performance, which is affordable, but we're not that average gamer. We're geeks, nerds, saddles. I don't care how you want to look at it. But yeah, competing at every level. This is why Nvidia have got low, medium, and belly big balls tiers of cards. And Intel and AMD have just got low and mid-range cards. They can't compete at the top end.
I personally would like AMD to come out with a card and call it Billy Big Balls because I really think it would sell.
The Billy Big Balls edition. Yes, I want it.
That would be great, man.
Anyway, right. So really, really quickly, one last thing from me here. I was hesitating whether to bring it up, but it kind of is tech news a little bit. The Honey Chrome extension that gets you cheaper prices and stuff, that's a little Chrome extension that sits at the top right, is owned by PayPal. They are getting sued, class action lawsuit against them. They have been literally using referral links from creators. They'd go in and give a creator money in YouTube, right? And then when a person uses that code, you were buying a card, Gray, right? Using the browser, using the extension, and it would say, oh, yeah, you've got the affiliate code from Jay's 2 cents. That's great. Honey, with their bloody little Chrome extension, they see that at last minute at the checkout, they switch it out with one of their own codes. That's what they've been doing, and they've been profiting. They've been pocketing all that money. Now, see, for the longest time, I used them.
I've never used them.
I used them until about 2 years ago, and I stopped because I built up about £20 worth of credit. The punter, you and I, the average person, everyone's talking about the creator getting screwed, right? Well, boo-hoo, right? I know that's wrong, but boo-hoo, the money they've got. I'm thinking about the average punter like us that has used their codes for so long and used their services so long, you build up a credit, a balance. And what happens is I've several times tried to go in and use this balance to get an Amazon voucher, a £10, a £20 voucher, and it doesn't go through, it doesn't work, and you email them several times, they just ignore you. You go online and do your research, they ignore many people. Some people get their credit so that it looks like they're doing something, but other people, many people don't, and it just sits there, and I gave up. I went, you guys are a con. I sent them a nasty email, and I just uninstalled it. And now it gets brought up because the rich streamers and the guys that get a few quid in their pocket are suffering. I'll get your violin out. I'm worried about all of us getting shafted here, not just these guys. No one's mentioning that, though. So there is a guy on YouTube that's the equivalent of lawyer for you, if you want. I don't know. Better call Saul, if you like. He's doing a class action lawsuit on behalf of everyone. And they're going to literally sue the pants off them. It's kind of disgusting because PayPal they're a big deal. They're a big company, well known. Did they know about this? If they did,
or they didn't even bother checking anyway,
or they don't care. So they own the lawsuits against PayPal effectively because it's the parent company. So PayPal
I don't know if PayPal's owned them for that long though. It would depend if they're suing prior to the ownership.
They have for a few years at least, Greg. At least for a few years. And the lawsuit that I've seen the lawsuit, the front page of the lawsuit, it is against PayPal Incorporated, whatever they're called. So it's them that's screwed. Honey's deceptive practices have cost it 3 million Chrome users, but people are asking, would it change its business model? No, it would not. It would literally just shaft people, which it's been doing for a long, long time. Now, I could get into, there's videos about this, MKBHD, Marcus Brownlee, and Mr. Bass and stuff are people that have been shafted by this. And the lawsuit was filed on December 29th in California. So we'll wait to see what happens. But it's literally disgusting. I could spend longer talking about this, but we don't have ages and ages. We'll move on. Gray, you either have the choice to talk about your game, my man, or you can go back to the start and go over some CES highlights and
I think
maybe want to talk about.
No, I think we've done a pretty good amount on CES, and if there's anything we can't cover, we can throw it to next week. But I will cover the game though. So
go for it.
Yeah. So I played a game. I kind of briefly mentioned it last podcast, but the game is called The Axis Unseen. That's AXIS, The Axis Unseen, and Perky, the last guy's name is Perky. I forgot his first name, but he was a developer for at least 20 years, and he worked with Bethesda. He was part of Firefall, Fallout 3 and 4, and several other big games. That he was involved with Skyrim. He was involved in a bunch of stuff. So the guy's been around, and has paid his dues and has done a lot of work and on very famous games. He decided about, I think, 2 or 3 years ago, he left Bethesda to go on his own. So essentially, even though he has AAA experience up the wazoo, he technically has become an independent. So he decided that he wanted to make one of his own games and call The Axis Unseen. But the thing that we've talked about before, and this guy has done, he created about 95% of the game by himself. And the map on this game is larger than the map on Fallout 4. So you can imagine it's a very big open world. So he put this game together. The only thing he didn't do the music. He got a hold of some people that he really liked, and they did the music for it, or the soundtrack. He also didn't do the artistic drawings because he's not an artist per se, a freehand artist. So he got a hold of an artist to basically draw under his guidance what he felt things should look like. So once he had those drawings, then he went ahead and started doing the game. So in any case, the game I'm really liking this game a lot. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and there's some things in there that are very unusual for today. One of the things I think that you notice right away is that when you play games, you always have your HUD, and you have, your display in the upper right or left, or maybe all four corners, depending on how much information you want on your HUD. The HUDs sometimes have gotten out of control to where, you want to see the game. You don't want to see just HUD everywhere. So what he did, I thought was rather ingenious, is that his HUD, when you first look at it, there's nothing on the screen. And then so the first time you play the game, you're going like, well, how am I going to know this, or how am I going to know that? So what he did, what I thought was rather ingenious, is the character is carrying around, because you do a lot of shooting with bow and arrow. Arrows will come by stronger than others and better and whatever. But the point is that most your weapons are really the bow and arrow, just a matter of strength and so forth. So in every shot where the character's walking around, he's holding a bow in his right hand. So, but he holds the bow up into the picture when he's doing, walking around or whatever. So the bow is always visible in the lower part of the screen. But what he did was, on the inside of the bow, it looks like it's hand carved into the bow are these symbols. Not hard to understand once you know how the game works. Okay, so you see a symbol that means your health. You see a symbol that works as a sound meter, because you have to be careful when you're walking around. You create sounds, the creatures will come and get you. He also has little symbols and lights, if you want to call it that, on the bow that signifies how many arrows you might have, how much magic you might have. And it's all neatly put into this bow. And I'm finding that really fascinating, because now all of a sudden my HUD is completely empty. I can see everything, but I also know what's going on, because all I have to do is look at my bow.
That's a fantastic touch.
So that was very unusual. And I think other game companies should adopt something similar-ish. Also, on the left hand, you always see his left hand, the top of his left hand, and you see tattoos on his hand. So the tattoo is a compass, is a health meter, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like a Native American tattoo or something on the hand. So, but the hand will kind of glow red if you're injured, and then when you heal yourself, it goes back to normal flesh color, or whatever. And then he built a little compass in there, so the arrow is always pointing towards more or less the general direction of the next thing you want to maybe go see. You don't have to follow the path of the compass. You can go anywhere you want in the game. Word of warning, though, when you go anywhere you want, you can end up running into areas like I did, where it was real difficult when you're not powered up, or whatever. So you kind of remember that, and you just go, yeah, I'll go back this way. there's all kinds of creatures that are after you. If you had to make a perfect count, there's something like 78 creatures, but there's really 3 to 4 versions of each creature. So technically, as far as the creatures are concerned, there may only be 5 or 6 because there's 4 of each or whatever. Four versions. It could be the regular, it could be advanced one, it could be a stronger one, or whatever. And even though they each look similar, they have some differences. Like the horned creatures will have smaller horns when they're not as strong. They'll have larger horns when they're bigger. They'll have armor plating practically on their skin.
And they'll have massive horns when they're playing Half-Life 3.
That's true. Coming from everywhere. So, but the thing I really like about this game is fun is it is built. You don't have to be stealth, but the game is really more designed on the stealth side of things, but in such a way that you are hunting. Every time you hunt an animal and you kill a creature, whatever it is, it could be the regular looking wolf kind of creatures or a deer kind of creature, and then you get these really weird giant tree golem things that are walking around, and also this other bag of bones with a horns coming out of his head and all this stuff. So as you're going around killing these things, you absorb the energy. Now here's another little thing I really liked about the game. When you die, do you lose everything? In many games, the thing that annoys me a lot is that when you do die, you lose pretty much everything, almost.
Yeah.
Here I like the way he does it because it's gradual. What do I mean by that? When you take in the energy on the bow, you see the energy you gain in like blue, okay? Mm-hmm. But every time you reach a portal area where you would use the portal area to level up and stuff like that, the blue becomes permanent orange. Again, all this on the bow, okay? And you cannot lose it once it turns orange. However, if you're out there and you gathered a whole bunch of energy and you haven't been able to find a portal, and an enemy stronger than you does you in, you lose all that blue energy, gone. Okay, but if you're smart and you see a portal in the distance and you can haul butt over there without getting killed, you can then save a lot of the blue energy, becomes orange, and that energy can never be taken away from you. So when you die and you come back, you always have that. That's something, again, I have not seen in games that I thought was great. So you kind of have the element of both games. Yeah, you're going to lose some stuff, but you're not going to lose it all if you're smart. The only knock I had about it is that there's a map system, but the map system I think could be a little better. It's not terrible, but what it is that you pretty much are on your own, generally speaking, and occasionally you find these idols. And by the way, the art direction is wonderful. I mean, there's so many cool looking things in the game. Yeah. I mean, it kind of a cross between Native American, Vikings, other things just kind of conglomerated. Yeah. And so you find this little totem thing, whatever it is, looks pretty cool. And you're basically thrown up into the air in a sense, and you're way up, and now that's your map for a given part of the area. It doesn't handhold you. You're looking around and you're seeing like, oh, that looks something interesting in the distance. And you can set a way marker, but you're limited to 2 way markers, not any more than that. So if you see something interested, you put a marker, and then you make your way towards it.
Is it as confusing as when Trev was putting multiple markers down in Rust and you were getting confused, Gray?
No, because Rust was fine. The only problem with Rust is why is everything 1? If I put a marker down, it's 1. If you put it down, it's 1.
Right, yeah, true.
Yeah, and so I'll go, just follow the 1. Okay, my 1, your 1, or Trev's 1? Which one?
Really quickly, Gray. Is it Bugzer?
Is it Bugzer?
The sub there, the Twitch Prime sub. I've got another window. I know you do as well, Matt. I just have them open just to cover myself. Thank you. It doesn't pop up in Riverside. That's why I've got another window. Thank you. Carry on, Mr.
Yeah, no problem. So anyway, in the game itself, what happens is that you have to be very wary. By the way, this is a good game to play with headsets. Do you have to have them on? No, but in order to hear the animals and things that are around, the headset gives you a little bit of an advantage. But anyway, when you're out hunting and so forth, there's these creatures, obviously. And if you walk on the soil, it's less noisy. If you walk on the rocks, it's more noisy. If you run, it's more noisy, etc. And you can see the little sound meter on your bow. So if it goes past, there's like 3 sections. If it gets up to the 3rd section, every freaking animal is going to know where you are. And so you have to be careful. But sometimes walking on the rocks, though noisy, is advantageous because there's these wolf creatures, and you always know they're around because you hear them sniffing, which I thought is great. You just hear them, like all the time, and they can't sniff rocks. So if you hear a lot of sniffing, you'll know that if you go to the rocks and then
they can't sniff rocks.
They can't. Well, they can't. The scent is not as strong on rocks as it is on the ground. So you have a little bit of an advantage. So
your dog clearly doesn't piss in any rocks at all, then, does she?
These are creatures of the game. Come on. So basically, I'm on the rocks, and they will find you eventually, but it's a harder time, and you see them coming really close to you, and you're like, and the tension in the game is so much fun. You're just like, oh man. And I was playing the game one time, and Matt was watching me, and all of a sudden, this big, tall, I don't know, man. This thing must have been 40 feet tall, and he was a big tree, a walking tree. You know, and I'm going like, and he keeps following me, and I'm going like, leave me alone, because this thing was like killing me, and I wasn't strong enough. You need a fire arrow to take it down. So I'm like running all over the place. Leave me alone! And I'm running all
screaming like a girl. I bet you were.
I was, man. It was such a pain. I'm sitting there going, come on, and I started to understand the distance.
Were you screaming like Boimler does in Lord
X?
I
don't know if I was that bad.
That's the best.
But you can tell in the way I'm talking about the game. The game is really a lot of fun. I highly recommend it.
It's quite intense. What I saw.
It is, but it's fun tense, not like scary per se. I mean, a little bit. But, and the game, the mood the guy sets in the game, the weather that he sets, the nighttime is like dark and mysterious. And the sound design was perfect. You hear the creature howling, and you're not sure where it is. And there's advantages to hunting at night than there is in the day, so you might want to take a chance at hunting in the nighttime. So there's a good and a bad about it, you know, and so forth. And
how much will it cost me?
I think it was $20 if I remember right. 2025.
You don't need to own a previous game, or its own standalone thing.
Not at all.
How's it so cheap?
So it was a very fair. If it was a very fair price, because the guy did it himself. I was talking about it before.
So he should charge him more then.
And by the way, for people that are concerned because they know that I like good graphics, yes, but I don't necessarily have to have ultra realistic graphics. It depends on the game.
It's a good thing about Gray. You know, if he talks about a game, then it's not going to look shit.
Right.
Safe to say.
It's very atmospheric.
You can say that, and you would be saying the right thing, that some of the ragdoll physics, ragdoll meaning when you shoot an animal, how much does it naturally look like it's flaying around after it got shot or whatever, right? So even the guy...
They say it's Half-Life physics, Half-Life 2 physics.
Even the guy Perky said, listen, somebody asked him, I said, what was the hardest thing that you encountered in building your game? And he says, hands down, the ragdoll physics. And you can tell in the game when you shoot an animal that the ragdoll physics is not perfect. But I don't care. It's not so bad that you're going to go like, well, you know.
Okay.
So you got to give it that. But much of the game looks really gorgeous and stuff like that. And I just love the fun kind of tension in trying to hunt these things down. And when you find a new creature, they have these ape creatures. They look like I don't know, Sasquatch or something. And again, if you don't have at least something to your health or your stealth statistics are up, they will mess you up. they come at you and they're not exactly slow, and they just beat the crap out of you. So you're like man, you know. I did take down 2 of those tree creatures though, Matt, because I finally had flame arrows. And the trick with them is you have to hide behind some rocks or keep moving around because they can't turn as well. So I just shot them and they would die, and I get some real good energy off of that. So that was a lot of fun. But anyway,
it's good. Yeah.
Okay.
Pick up the game. It's a lot of fun. It really is.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. You finished at the perfect time. We fortunately don't have time for the quiz. We had so much content that we had to wrap up. But we've got some decent content for next week. Probably still carry on a little bit more CES stuff.
And by the way,
we'll be back.
I think we broke a record. We have 65 messages in the chat.
Yeah.
No, because we had our 2 resident tech geeks in, man, fighting between. It was like fight round 1, wins, fight 2, round 2. Hands wins. But we will be back. We'll get some more stuff for next week anyway.
Sure.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, watching, listening. The podcast will be up shortly. The Gazbeer 66 now. God,
don't forget video podcast Shiny coming up in a couple days.
It comes out over the weekend, that there. So, yeah, thank you, boys. We'll wrap it up there. We'll be back soon. And Gray will have do you have the audio pod cast out first?
Yeah, I have that out later tonight sometime, or my night.
Usually be about midnight, isn't it?
Yeah, so you're by the morning in UK, it'll be there.
Okay, no worries at all. Right, ladies and gents, we will catch you later. Take it easy.
Cheerio.
I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. In my heart I have but one desire, and that one is you.